Okay, I think the first thing you want to teach coaches at the foundational level is that it's not about soccer. It's like about doing the soccer is a vehicle for growing young men and women. Young, right? You gotta you're coaching them. You're teaching them through your behavior. So what that means is that soccer is just a vehicle for growing responsible young individuals. So soccer aside, you really gotta kind of articulate that their behaviors of the utmost importance. It's like the players will respond not to a little bit to what you say, but more what you do. Right, so you want to be good leaders on and off the field, and always be doing the right thing. I think that's super important. The second thing that you want to teach the coaches so that they can teach the players is how to breathe. Right, a good video is by Dr. Vranich, Vranich. It's a TED Talk, and she teaches belly breathing. Belly breathing looks like this, right? It's you take this test, or you could teach this test to your coaches. You tell all your coaches, morning. You tell all the coaches, take a deep breath. If their shoulders raise up towards the sky, then that's not a good sign, right? They what's up? You want to right, if they use their shoulders and their upper back to breathe, that means that they're wasting energy using their back muscles to breathe when you could use your belly to breathe. Belly breathing will help improve players' endurance and stamina. Right, rule of 3. 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter, 3 weeks without food or water, give or take. So breathing is the most important thing. So if the only thing you could teach your coaches to teach their players is how to breathe effectively, this is something that's gonna it's just super important that no coaches are teaching these days, and no players are aware of it. So that's a great foundational. That's I think that should be practice. You want to teach the coaches that so they can teach their players that on practice or session number 1. And then I think the third thing that you want to instill in them is that their number one. I think the thing they kind of have to begin to be aware of is whether or not their players have fundamental skills or not. Right? Because then you could start to teach them 2 different training routines. And these aren't perfect routines by any means, but they're simple frameworks that new coaches can easily understand, which means that they can easily coach them with certainty. And then they can be enthusiastic with their coaching because it's an easy recipe for success. So if players don't have fundamental skills, when I say fundamental skills, I mean juggling, dribbling, and in my mind, passing and shooting are almost a subset of juggling. Right, like juggling is rhythmic passing and juggling is rhythmic shooting. So if players can't dribble, juggle, pass, and shoot, then what you want to teach the coaches to teach the players is this simple format, this simple routine. It looks like this. It goes ball mastery, dribbling sequences, juggling games, and then 1v1 to cones. For ball mastery, you could search Cover Coaching, Coerver, right? He's got a free app, premium app, or you could just search on YouTube. And then it's a progression. So in the first practice, you learn 1 move, and then the second practice, you review the move from the previous practice, and then you learn the new one. So by the end of the season, right, you start to tell the players, okay, every player show me your toe touches, and then everyone show me inside of the foot. Then everyone show me your L move. Now let's see your chop. Then let's see your drag, and let's see your Cruyff, and let's see your L turn, and so then It's a progression of moves, and that's the format. Review, learn, and then progress right into dribbling sequences. An example of a dribbling sequence is with your right foot you go one second. So you go outside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, outside, inside, outside, inside. So if your team has a small area, right, they have an 18-yard box or they have half a field, you could have them do this sequence within the area. So you create chaos within the area to have them navigate, right? They have to start to develop awareness of the ball and the interference around them. So now you're teaching them, right, how to navigate the ball and players at the same time. Or you could have them all dribble around the field counterclockwise or clockwise, repeating the sequence over and over. They should say it out loud when they're doing it. Outside, outside, inside, outside, inside. Outside, outside, inside, outside, inside. Over and over and over. And then you go around to juggling games. Juggling games, all you need is, well, there's variations. You could have a garbage can or a bin, and you put it in the center of the field, and you have all the players standing around it. And you have the ball, each player's got a ball in their hand, and you tell them, okay, with a bounce, with your right foot, I want you to juggle the ball into the barrel. So every player's got, right, all the players are standing a few feet from the barrel, ball in their hand, and then the ball bounces, and they kick it, bounce, kick, bounce, kick into the barrel. And if they mess up, pick the ball up, and go back to their starting spot and do it again. And then it's right foot with a bounce, left foot with a bounce, both feet alternating with a bounce, right thigh, left thigh, both thighs alternating, with or without a bounce. And why this game is effective is because as players improve, they can step further and further away from the barrel, they can take away the bounce, they can start to put balls in their hands, they could use more challenging balls. So this is a great game because players who are more skilled and players who are less skilled can still have it scales to the ability of each player. If you don't have access to a garbage can or barrel, what you could do is have partner juggling games. So if you take two players who are not even more than 1 foot away from each other, and all you're doing is going with a ball in the hand, thigh, catch, right? One player thighs it to the other player catches it, thigh, catch, thigh, catch, thigh, catch, or bounce, kick, catch, bounce, kick, catch, bounce, thigh, kick, catch, right? So back and forth, lots of touches, right? Ball drops, that's okay, right? A lot of touches to start to develop an awareness of where the ball's going to go when they hit it. And it doesn't matter, right? You have size 1 balls, have size 2, 1 through 5s, bouncy balls, hacky sacks, right? Maybe, a whole bunch of balls, so players get a lot of touches, developing awareness for different size balls. And then the last thing, then you do 1v1 to cones. You want the cones that you can knock over. So this combines everything they've learned, the whole practice, into the final drill, which is 1v1 to cones. So you could have them switch off every three, for 5 minutes. They play 3 different players. First 5 minutes, switch. Second 5, switch. Boom. End with a third one. End with a cool down. So that's a framework that each age group can use who doesn't have fundamental skills. If players do have fundamental skills, then the framework is warm-up, possession, right? Some type of possession game. You could do keep away. A team keeps the ball away from the other team. 4 passes, scores 1 point, and then it's 5 points wins the game. And then you want to have them be aware that when you restrict the space of your possession game, it forces players to maximize the space, be more creative with the ball. Right? You don't want your space to be too big, but you also don't want to be, they shouldn't be packed in together like sardines. And then you do finishing on goal, then crossing and finishing, and then you finish. You split up the team into 3 teams, and you bring in the goals close together, and you have them play King of the Hill style. King of the Hill style as in 2 teams play against each other, with the team that's sitting out, they're surrounding the field as neutral players with 1 touch. This keeps them engaged, and the reason why you want to split the team up into 3 is because it elevates the intensity and the competition within your team. If you just have 2 teams scrimmaging against each other, if one team scores on the other team, nothing is gained and nothing is lost. But when you change the dynamic where 3 teams are playing King of the Hill style, when one team gets scored on and they have to get off the field, right, players who love to play love playing, which means they're gonna kind of go all in, and it's gonna raise the intensity level of training. That's why splitting the team up into 3 for this last part of the drill is essential. Right, so it's possession, finish on goal. What's finish on goal? Finishing on goal, rapid fire, right? No whistles, low hard driven balls, starting, you're starting your finishing line about 10 yards from the 18. So everyone lines up with the ball, each player's got a ball, and they go dribble as fast as they can, and then they finish in the side netting of the goal. And it doesn't matter if you have goalkeeper in the goal or not. This is actually psychologically hard on goalkeepers. So you tell the goalkeeper, pop in and out of goal whenever you choose. Or let's say you've got 2 goalkeepers, you tell them rotate in and out of goal whenever you want. And then you could switch to volleys. So at that same starting spot, 10 yards above the 18, as a coach, you tell the coaches, if they're facing the goal, you have the players line up with the ball in their hands. You throw the ball over their head with the players facing you. They spin around, 1 touch strike on goal, volley. So that could be for the last 5 minutes of the finish on goal. And then crossing and finishing. 4 lines. 2 crossing lines alternating. 2 finishing lines that make crisscrossing runs to finish on goal. 1 touch finish. So you go left side finishes. Left side goes, then right side goes. You might, and then, right, they might have to, you might not have to reset the balls, because when you're going rapid fire, the balls will go into the back of the net, or they're going to go wide of the goal. If you have no backstop behind the goal, then you got to reset the balls to the wingers so that they can have services in. And then right into playing to big goals. 3 teams. So it's about 15, 15, 15, 15, and that's an hour-long session right there, and it'll probably go over if you have a warm-up and then cool down, right? So you call it an hour 15, hour and a half. No water breaks. The players get water whenever they please, right? You tell them, don't even ask, or go to the bathroom. They just go whenever they please. And the fitness is built into the training, right? You don't need to. It's high tempo. The whole session is a high tempo session, and this is their fitness workout is the training session, right? So let's recap. At the fundamental level, you want to have the coaches morally, right, be great leaders so they can grow young minds into young adults. Then you want to teach them how to breathe. Dr. Vranich, V-R-A-N-I-C-H, how to breathe. And then they have to recognize whether or not their teams have fundamental skills or not. If they don't have fundamental skills, then it's ball mastery, dribbling sequences, juggling games, then 1v1 to cones. If they do have fundamental skills, it's possession, finishing on goal, crossing and finishing, and then playing to big goals. 3 teams, King of the Hill style. The team that's sitting out surrounds the field as neutral players with 1 touch, and then cool down. Right? And that's a framework that you could teach new coaches, and once they learn this, then they can begin to adapt. They pick up something from another training session, or they start to incorporate their own, or they say, oh, well, I saw this one, can I try it out? You say, sure, yeah, test out whatever you like, it's your session. But for new coaches who have no idea of what even a practice session looks like, you want to introduce this to them so that they can understand it at a deep level, teach it enthusiastically, and have confidence and certainty with it. And then this gives them, this allows them to be creative, right? You give them structure so that they can start to take routines from other coaches, or they do some research and they like to warm up from, then they could start to pull this warm up from this team, or they like this club's finishing drill, or they like this, so if they start to mix and match and build their own training routines. So this is an example of what you could teach a whole variety of coaches all in one, because it's a bit of a paradox, because the most advanced coaches are probably going to be the best individual skills coaches, but they're not going to want to work with the toddlers. They're not going to want to work with the squirts, right? They're going to want to have, they don't want to be babysitters, in effect. So, and the new coaches, they're not going to want to be babysitters, but they kind of have to earn, right? They're going to have to earn the right, or the ability to coach older teams and players, and that means kind of working your way up through the ranks and kind of doing the hard things and learning the progression. It's like you're not just gonna roll up to a club and say, okay, I want to coach, coach at a professional level or an academy team, right? So there's a progression. So hopefully some of these ideas help. Reach out with any questions. All right, thank you.